Clinical studies show a 41% reduction in inflammation markers using one specific compound. Standard medicine ignores this data. Instead, you look at the clock. It is 2:37 a.m. The tiles are cold. You stand over the porcelain. You relax. You push. You wait for a stream that refuses to start. You feel the dull ache in your lower abdomen. The heaviness. The stagnant pressure of a bladder that never fully empties. Everything you have been told about an enlarged prostate is a dangerous half-truth. It is not aging. It is systemic oxidative ischemia. Dr. Megan Foster spent 22 years treating men with severe urinary obstruction. She analyzed the internal pathology of over 8,000 patients. She looked at the blood work. She looked at the tissue samples. Her clinical conclusion is absolute. Treating this condition with standard alpha blockers is identical to removing the battery from a smoke detector. You stop the noise. You let the house burn to the ground. The medication forces the muscle to relax. But it does nothing to extinguish the cellular fire destroying the gland. The fire spreads. The tissue continues to warp. But there is a mechanical override. There is one specific shell-encased fat acting as a biological solvent for this fire. It strips the damage from the tissue. But it only works if you consume it raw. We will decode that exact protocol in a moment. The medical establishment hands you a daily pill. They tell you to accept the inevitable decline. They measure your symptoms. They ignore the root cause. They lie. But to fix the flow, you first have to understand why the pipe is actually closing. Hint: it is not just getting old. Your prostate is a donut. Your urethra is the flexible straw running directly through the center. When the tissue inside the donut suffers oxidative rust, it swells. It acts as a seized hydraulic valve. It clamps down on the straw. The fluid cannot pass. You push harder. You increase the internal hydrostatic pressure. The fluid backs up into the bladder. It stagnates. It becomes a breeding ground for bacterial rot. Look at the microscope view. Free radicals bombard the cellular membrane of your prostate. They act as microscopic shrapnel. They corrode the delicate lipid layers. The tissue tears. The immune system rushes in. The inflammation hardens. The donut expands inward. The friction builds. Every time you try to empty your bladder, you fight a physical, mechanical blockage. You have been told your manhood is the enemy. You have been told high testosterone is the villain causing this expansion. That is a biological lie. Your testosterone is dropping. That low testosterone triggers a panic response. Your body aggressively converts the remaining supply into DHT. DHT is the master builder. It commands the prostate tissue to multiply rapidly. Dr. Foster saw this exact pattern in thousands of failing treatments. Men castrating their hormones while their prostates continued to grow. A 30,000-man observational study confirmed the failure of standard dietary advice. Look at that sample size. 30,000 men tracking their intake. 30,000 men proving that ignoring the rust guarantees the blockage. We know the rust is seizing the valve. We know the pressure is building. Now, we need the biological penetrating oil. The first one on this list reduces inflammation by 41%. The solvent is the walnut. It is not a snack. It is an industrial-grade biological intervention. Walnuts contain a massive, concentrated payload of alpha-linolenic acid. When this specific fatty acid hits your digestive tract, your liver processes it. It converts the raw material into resolvins. Resolvins are active chemical agents. They are the cleanup crew. They hunt down the oxidative rust. They lock onto the inflamed receptors. They dismantle the inflammatory markers piece by piece. They loosen the seized valve from the inside out. The swelling retracts. The donut shrinks. The pressure on the straw releases. You might look at walnuts and fear the calories. You think they are too high in fat. You worry about your waistline. The fats in walnuts are structural. They are not storage fats. They act as the mortar for your cellular walls. They displace other useless calories while rebuilding your internal architecture. Do you keep your nuts in the pantry? If yes, throw them out right now. Here is why. Heat destroys the active solvent. The volatile oils in walnuts oxidize the moment they reach room temperature. They degrade. They turn rancid. They become the exact biological rust you are trying to cure. You must store them in the refrigerator or the freezer. The cold locks the oils in suspended animation. The dosage is strict. 1 ounce. Roughly 14 halves. Eat them raw in the morning. They stabilize your metabolic engine. They prevent the afternoon glucose crash. Never consume them roasted. Roasting detonates the omega-3 structures. Walnuts dissolve the rust. But they do not widen the pipe. For that, we need a different mechanic. Enter pistachios. They deliver high concentrations of L-arginine. This amino acid enters your endothelium. It forces your blood vessels to produce nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is the biological Teflon spray. It acts as a powerful vasodilator. It relaxes the smooth muscle surrounding the urinary tract. It expands the hydraulic pipe. The blood rushes into the pelvic floor. The oxygen clears the stagnant zones. The requirement is 30 to 40 raw pistachios daily. Then you deploy pecans. Pecans contain heavy doses of elagitannins. These compounds target NF-kappa B. That is the master switch of inflammation. It controls the systemic wildfire. Pecans flip the switch off. They cut the power to the alarm. 15 to 20 halves a day shuts down the chemical panic. Finally, you bring in the heavy artillery. Brazil nuts. They provide pure, unfiltered selenium. Selenium acts as the ultimate engine coolant. It builds glutathione in the liver. Glutathione is the master antioxidant. It neutralizes the free radical shrapnel before it strikes the prostate tissue. It cools the engine before it overheats. If you cannot source Brazil nuts, raw sunflower seeds provide a localized, biological equivalent. You just need a higher volume. Stop reading. Look at this warning. 2 Brazil nuts maximum per day. Selenium toxicity is a medical reality. You do not overload the engine coolant. 2 nuts achieve the exact mechanical calibration required to build the glutathione defense. You have the solvent. You have the widener. You have the coolant. But none of this works if you unknowingly pour sand into the tank every night. You can eat all the structural fats in the world. If you consume honey-roasted nuts, you fail completely. The sugar coats your cells. It initiates glycation. It creates the exact internal rust seizing your valve. The sugar molecule latches onto the protein strand like a barnacle welding itself to a ship hull. It hardens. It crystallizes. You try to fix the flow while cementing the pipes shut. If you cycle long distances, you apply direct, prolonged mechanical pressure to the inflamed donut. You crush the compromised tissue against the saddle. You induce physical trauma to an organ already fighting for oxygen. And if you drink fluids after 6 in the evening, you force hydraulic overload on a system lacking the capacity to drain. Stop pouring sand in the tank. Cut the late water. Cut the sugar. Imagine your body 7 days from now. The internal heat dissipates. The swelling retreats. The valve opens. The mechanical blockage dissolves. The urine flows without hesitation. You sleep through the night. The sun comes through the window. You open your eyes rested. The heaviness is gone. The dull ache is erased. The clock reads 2:37 a.m., but you are not awake to see it. It is no longer your alarm clock. Your prostate is not failing. It is healing. Modern disease is not a biological error. It is an environmental poisoning. Your body is a self-cleaning machine capable of repairing DNA if you simply remove the interference. You have cleared the rust. You have opened the valve. But another danger remains. In the next protocol, we dismantle the hidden chemical in your daily plastics. It acts as a counterfeit hormone. It mimics estrogen. It forces your prostate to swell all over again. It sits in 90% of kitchens right now.